Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Awakening, where we are awake, not awoke. Um, this today we're going to be talking about something that's very disheartening, and it's been all over the news. And I was going to make this video sooner, but honestly, you don't know how to do it justice. And if you haven't figured out what it is yet, it's the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Um, I I use the word assassination because that is literally what it is, and anyone calling it any different is blind and unaware. Um, I actually happened to be there at the event at the Utah Valley University in Utah. Um, and I mean, we showed up early. We were there like half an hour early, a little bit. We stayed in the parking lot for a few minutes, and then we went over to the pavilion that was set up over by the courtyard. And for those of you who've never been to this particular university or this area, they have a bunch of like steps that go down into this area, and that's where he had his pavilion set up. And then there's like this overpass, this like walk bridge that goes across the top of it. They actually had that cut off on both ends and police patrolling up there because they didn't want anyone right above Charlie to throw anything at him. Um, And by the time we got here there, even though we were early, there were already thousands of people. It was crazy how many people were there. I don't think they anticipated so many people. Um, but it was packed. And of course you get your protesters and whatnot, and uh they were yelling out their typical stuff. There was a group of them kind of like down in the courtyard and to the right of Charlie Kirk's pavilion that he had set up, but a majority of them were on the upper uh crossway on the right side, and they had their signs. And I'm pretty sure I saw a guy that I've seen in tons of other Charlie Kirk videos, and he always has like a similar sign. Uh, what did it say? If I remember, it said Charlie Kirk is a loser, a cuck, and a liar. I was like, dude, do you just reuse the same sign? I mean, they just bust him around all the protests, probably. Anyways, yeah, there were people protesting it. There were people trying to disperse the crowds, trying to get us to leave. There was one chick that was she dropped a bag of rotten eggs to try and disperse the crowd. She actually, it was so random. She dropped it right at my feet and the guy next to us. She literally like started pushing through the crowd, looking down towards the pavilion as I was up at the higher levels of the courtyard. And she squeezes in amongst us. It's like, oh, excuse me. So of course you like step out of the way so she can go because you think she's going down to meet her friends. But no, she just drops this blue bag that was probably like, I don't know, 18 inches tall by about like that. It had little handles on it, and it just reeked of freaking rotten eggs. And the guy that was I was standing with and my buddy that was there, we were like, she totally just dropped that. So the guy grabbed it. He's like, "Oh, here's your bag." And she's like, "Oh, that's not my bag." Totally denying it. And he's like, "We literally just saw you drop it. Here, take your bag." And she's just like, "No, it's not my bag." And then she walked away. So he just threw it away. So it's like people will do anything to just try and, you know, throw wrenches and things. But yeah, it started out really good vibes, tons of people there cheering, laughing, joking. There were people dressed up, tons of MAGA merch, tons of patriotic merch. There was even a guy dressed up like the Cracker Barrel Karen. He was wearing a Cracker Barrel shirt and he was dressed up, had a wig on and everything, a freaking pantsuit. Sorry, it was super funny. Um, but yeah, we were chanting USA, USA, waving flags. And then Charlie Kirk came out, started the Q&A, couple questions in, And then that's when it took a turn. I mean, y- you can never prepare for something like this. It just shocks you and it just replays in your mind over and over and over again of what happened. Like it's been crazy. Like it's replayed through my in my head hundreds of times, and it's like, holy crap, how is this? How is this reality? Like, how did this happen? But yeah, he was there answering one of the questions actually about freaking shootings, and he gets shot. Like, what the crap? But yeah, he got shot. There was that. Everyone just started freaking out. Charlie Kirk starts falling back. His people are like right there to get him, and they carry him out like a freaking plank. It was crazy. I was like, holy crap! They just shot Charlie. Everyone's scrambling, running around, screaming. Tons of the students are freaking hysterical. Everyone's running, diving for bushes, and running into the surrounding buildings. It was crazy. There was just everyone just abandoned their bags and their drinks and their food. The ground was just littered with everyone's stuff that they just ditched because I mean, active shooter, you don't who cares about your phone and your freaking pizza bender or cheeseburger or whatever it was, your coffee when someone just got shot. So we see they rush Charlie Kirk back behind the overpass. There's another little like courtyard area with some fountains, and they took him out there. There's police scrambling everywhere. You hear screaming. Police are like, "Get down! Get down! Get down!" Everyone's looking around, trying to find cover. It was insane. And then we see like a little scuffle. And we went around to where that waterfall courtyard area is, and that's where they arrested that initial guy, the older gentleman. I actually will show some pictures that I actually took and a short little video right after the shot was fired. So here's that.
Guys, we were just at a Charlie Kirk convention and they just shot Charlie. Holy shit. They just shot him. Holy crap.
Yeah, guys, it was the videos don't do it justice on how chaotic and crazy it was. Um, like I said, people aren't prepared to see stuff like that. And I even had this guy that was down a couple rows from us in the courtyard approach me and he's like, "Have you seen my wife and my two kids?" Because she had walked past me and said hi earlier. Um, but she had, oh, sorry, she had actually walked out past us again a couple minutes before the shots were actually fired, headed towards one of the buildings. So I told him that. I was like, okay, I saw your. I was like, was your wife was this your wife? Was she the one that was holding the baby and she had a little girl with her? And he's like, yes, yes, yes. Have you seen her? And I was like, she left a few minutes ago and she headed towards that building. I didn't see where she went after that, but yeah, people were screaming, crying. Everyone had their phones out trying to call their loved ones, trying to get rides off the property, and there were elderly people, there were families, and everyone's just trying to get off the campus. And there's like security and police, and oh my gosh, there was so many more officers were showing up as we're trying to leave the event and make our way to the parking lot. It's just packed with cars and the police. There's so much traffic. The police aren't driving on the freaking roads. They're like coming up on curbs and driving down like walkways and whatnot. And they're just there was actually one cop car that came past us on the freaking sidewalk driving down the freaking sidewalk of the college campus, screaming like, "Where's the Losi building? Where's the Losi building?" So they were going to lock that thing down. Um, yeah, I my mind is still racing. Holy crap. Um, but I mean, I know we were all well, most of us normal, decent human beings were hoping and praying for Charlie Kirk to be able to make it through this. And it is incredibly tragic and sad that he wasn't able to. We lost a very kind, motivated, patriotic American. And people can try and say what they want about him, but really it comes down to the integrity of someone's character. And he was probably one of the best people out there. He was loved by many. He was loved by his wife, his kids. He was religious. He loved the Lord, Jesus Christ, our Savior. He even said that. Someone asked him a question about religious stuff, and Charlie Kirk was answering, and he's like, "Yes, I'm very religious." And he was like, "Christ is King, 100%, yeah." But yeah, he Charlie Kirk was an embodiment of Christian and American values. Like that that's like the only way to describe him. He was so complex yet so simple and down to earth. And his knowledge was beyond. There will never be a replacement for Charlie Kirk. Like they may replace a position, but you can't replace that. He was one of a kind, and he had a lot of life left that he could have lived. But I guess God wanted him back. Um, my heart goes out to his wife and kids. I mean, that's incredibly tragic. Um, I actually want to share one thing. JD Vance actually posted this on X, and I believe he had some very flattering things to say about Charlie Kirk. I'm gonna pull it up and read parts of it to you. Uh, Again, this is on the platform X, uh, previously known as Twitter. But JD Vance, he states, "A while ago, probably in 2017, I appeared on Tucker Carlson's Fox show to talk about God knows what. Afterwards, a name I barely knew sent me a DM on Twitter and told me I did a great job. It was Charlie Kirk. And that moment of kindness began a friendship that lasted until today. Charlie was fascinated by ideas and always willing to learn and change his mind. When others were right, he learned from them. When he was right, as he usually was, he was generous. With Charlie, the attitude was never, 'I told you so,' but 'welcome.' Charlie Kirk, in all of his clips and all his videos, he lets just anyone come up and ask him a question. And these people, so many of them, are so disrespectful. And I don't know very many people who would tolerate the level of disrespect that Charlie Kirk had to endure with such a cool head. He knew his stuff, and he would display that information, and you could accept it or not. Um, he continues by saying, um, Charlie genuinely believed in and loved Jesus Christ. He had a profound faith. Um, he talks about like his campaign and different things like that. And then he says, Charlie Kirk was a true friend. The kind of guy you could say something to and know it would always stay with him. Because he was a true friend, you could instinctively trust the people Charlie introduced you to. I cannot think of a better compliment than that. I don't know anyone, and I mean anyone, that I have that level of trust in. I am sorry, loved ones, family, friends. I love you guys. But if you introduce me to someone, I'm not 100% going to automatically trust them. Are you for real? Forget that. And for him to say that about Charlie Kirk, biggest compliment in my eyes. Um, but again, it's something that never should have happened. Like this, that event had such possibility to become such a great event for so many people, and it's traumatized so many people. I mean, the president of that university is probably going to have to come out and make an announcement. Sorry, uh, that counseling and therapy will be provided and available to anyone experiencing the trauma and the stress of that event. I mean, I'm shook up, and this isn't the first person. Like I've seen people killed before. This wasn't new to me, and I still can't wrap my head around it. Yes, those were different situations and different times and places, but still, it's a life that was taken in front of you, and it affects you. You can say all you want, but it messes you up. Holy crap. Uh, it's it's heartening, but also disheartening to see the responses and the replies on social media because of course you get the people that are supportive and are like, "Oh, we'll miss you, Charlie Kirk. Oh, he was taken way before his time." And then you get the freaking trolls, just the disgusting human beings that just don't contribute to society or anything. And they're just like, "Yeah, well deserved. Who's next?" All these things. And it's like, seriously? You gotta be that despicable of a human being. Like, a life was lost, a husband was lost, a father was lost. There's a freaking family that doesn't have a father and a freaking husband because some idiot got their feelings hurt. Are you freaking kidding me? Holy crap. It's a God given right, in my eyes, to be able to speak your mind and the right to life. Holy crap, people. But it's a sad, sad tragedy, and I hope we can make some good come of it. Um, I mean, so many people have come together and prayed for his family and trying to put like donations together to help his family and whatnot. People have come out with tributes to him. Tom McDonald, if you've heard of him, he's an independent rapper. He came out with a song. I actually might share some of that at the end of this. Um, Tons of his friends and tons of his political allies have come out and just totally condemned the living crap out of the scum that took his life. Um, I really hope that they find this person, and I, I don't even have to say it. I mean, he's going to be prosecuted to the highest degree. I mean, you messed with one of Trump's close inner circle friends. Like you don't mess with Trump, and you sure as hell shouldn't mess with those close to him. Like people by now should realize that Trump ain't messing around. But yes, it's a sad thing. It was completely chaotic, like I said, and it is affected millions and millions of lives. I've talked to so many people that have just you're sick. You're physically sick from this atrocity. Like your stomach hurts and you feel nauseous that people could just blatantly do something so disgusting and uh, they may have silenced his voice, but hundreds, thousands, millions of voices will awaken from this. This is not over. There you're gonna a lot is gonna snowball from this event. Good and bad. And we're living in some crazy times, people. But we lost a good man, Charlie Kirk. You were a real one. And it makes me think of, y'all remember the movie Sandlot? When the babe visits the kid in his room, and as he's leaving, he says, "Heroes get remembered, but legends never die." And Charlie Kirk was exactly that. He is, was, and will forever be a legend. You can't silence his voice. His voice will live on for eternity. And I hope he's looking down from us with God in heaven, and that we use this to further making the world a better place and cleaning up the filth that exists. Because when do we say enough is enough? Like, we've been far too tolerant for far too long. We can't allow stuff like this to continue. People need to suffer the consequences of their actions. And I'm not just talking about this Kirk event. Every time I turn on the news, someone's shooting someone, killing someone, school shootings. People need to just worry about themselves and have a little respect for their fellow human beings. I mean, in grade school and freaking church, they tell you, like, basically the golden rule: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And the Bible talks about the greatest commandments, and it talks about the Lord your God and love your neighbor. We can't even do that. Holy crap. Yesterday was an extremely sad day, and today is also an extremely sad day as we remember all those lives that were lost on 9/11. There's so much tragedy going on, and I understand many times it's hard to see hope. I'm guilty of this too. It's hard to see, like, how can this keep going on? But God has a plan, and as crazy as life might get, and as hard as it might be, we need to try and rely and have faith that God knows what he's doing and will only allow things to go so far before he intervenes. But we love you, Charlie. We miss you. And our prayers go out to you and your family. Take care.
Dear Charlie, I don't know if you can see us now, but if heaven has a window, I sure hope you're looking down. Cause we ain't going quiet, we gon' scream your name loud. And you're gone, but I swear to God that we gon' make you proud. We ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie.